studying for the Android developers certification, and I wanted to make this short little video on it. And so anyway, this is a certification here. We talked about it already in another video, and there is a study guide, and within the study guide there's all these like topics that you need to study. And specifically, we're going to focus on this one right here, toasts and snack bars. And these are simple notification pop-ups. So I'm going to show you quickly what we're going to do so you can figure out if you're interested. So we're going to design this little app here that has some buttons on it that will just allow us to play with toasts. So what a toast is basically it's this like little pop-up message. That's basically a toast. And then the snack bar is this bar that you see across the bottom of Android. And sometimes when you see it, it comes across and there's like an action button that you can push to have it do something. So anyway, we're going to basically look into toast and snack bars, and then and we're going to go from there. So from the website right here, you can click on the resources that Google provides you, and they provide you a click-through to a tutorial on toasts. And so once again, here is the example of a toast. And they provide you a bunch of sample code in both Java and Kotlin. And then they also provide you the same thing in Snackbar. I would like to point out, however, and this is one thing that caught my eye when I was doing this right here is completely deprecated, like this package right here. So basically, Android has moved off of this, and they've moved to this thing called Android X that is a different refactor of the same code basically. And so this tutorial doesn't really work, even though it's on their official website. This is deprecated, and it took a little bit of time for me to figure out how to get it to work. So anyway, we are going to leverage these things just to kind of to get an idea what's going on. So I found this like kind of old article to kind of explain the differences of it, and this is the Journal Dev. I want to give them a little bit of credit so you can see the URL that we're pulling this off. One thing that they're saying is like toast messages can be printed anywhere you want on the screen, and that's like 100% true. So like if we move this over, this toast message, we can put it wherever we want. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the upper corner. It can be in the bottom corner. It can be in the center. Snack bars are always on the bottom. Okay, so that's like one thing that you know, is different. The other thing is the snack bar has a action button. So you know, like if we click on toast, there's no button per se to do anything. But if we actually click on the snack bar, we can actually have a button here so that somebody can do something based on the pop-up. And then the last thing that they're mentioning here is that on a toast, it's on the screen for a certain amount of time, and the user really can't interact with it. Where with the snack bar, when you put it up, you can actually swipe it away, which you know, I can't really do with a mouse, but you know, normally you can get it out of the way if you don't really want to see it. So those are the key differences. And then the other thing, you know, even though this is a wonderful article, once again, if you look at the packages that they're referencing even the deprecated packages. So right here, Android support design. You shouldn't be using that anymore, apparently. So I'm going to go through, and I have like the working code here, but let's start a new package and a new project, and then we will go from there. All right, so we're going to go directly into Android Studio from here, and this is a working example that we have, but we're going to start fresh. So we will say new project. This is going to be an empty activity. This is the latest version of Android Studio. We're just going to name it whatever we want to name it, snack example, let's just say. Pick some custom package that hopefully you own. If you don't own a domain space like this, then just put like your name here, like last name dot first name dot snack example or something like that. Then Java, we are going to use for Android 4.4 and above KitKat. I don't think it really matters too much, but at least use 19. Hey, so I'm just going to speed this up and just kind of voice over a little bit. So Grado finished building it, and now we're going to build the UI. This should be pretty simple stuff. You just drag the buttons on the screen, then using the constraint layout editor, you just constrain them. I'm using 32 as a constraint between the buttons to the top, and then an equal constraint on the side. I'm also creating you know, IDs that make sense to me for the buttons, and I'm setting a text value on the buttons also. This is all boilerplate stuff that should be very easy, and it's not really the focus of the video. The focus of the video is going to be on toast messages. But if you don't know how to do this, I would say go back to one of my earlier videos where I actually spend more time on this. Or you can just, watch how I do this, I guess, and probably repeat it. It's pretty easy. You just see that I'm like connecting the dots. I'm going to also speed up the section on the boilerplate for the actual class, and then when we actually get to what's important, we'll slow down and you'll see it in real time. So here's a boilerplate for the class. Basically, I made a bunch of buttons. I also went through and I wired the buttons up to my member variables, and then after I wired them up, I went through and I created a bunch of listeners, one per button. So then, when you click the button, it executes the listener. So here are the listeners, and everybody should know how to do at least this much if they've looked at one of my other videos. And then you'll see like I'll fire up the new code, like I'll exit out and fire up the new code, and you can see it. So this is the tutorial that we were pointing out. So I'm just going to like rip the code right off their website because they are giving it to us, so we can do that. And then we'll go back to Android Studio, and we're just going to drop that in our listener. And I went through and did a auto import for me right here. If you don't have auto imports turned on, you're going to need to be importing stuff. And we'll just hit play immediately, so you can see it pop up. And if we go to our emulator, you should see when we do a toast, there's your toast message right there. So what exactly did we cut and paste? We pasted the context, get application context, so we can get rid of that. Then they're referencing the text that they're provided right here. That's probably a bad way to do it. And they're making their example very simple, but you really should be referencing the strings file. So I'm just going to make a reference like the button, so it'll just say toast. And then the duration, that's very verbose also, length short. Okay, so this is that same exact code, just shortened up a little bit. So there is another thing that they point out in our article, and this is basically one of the differences between a toast message and a snack bar. I think we missed a T. Okay, so what this does is this changes the location of the button. So instead of having it in the bottom and the center, this will put it in the upper left corner, and then you can adjust the offsets if you want to be even more custom about it. So now you can see we've moved the button, and the button is actually no longer hard-coded to a string. It's hard-coded to the strings file. So that is basically the very quick rundown on toasts. Now let's do a custom toast, and they actually provide the code on how to do that too. So we need to go to resources, layouts, right here. We're going to say new layout resource file, and then we can name it whatever we want. I think I named mine like toast. It puts us in a layout editor. None of this really matters. We're just going to ditch all that. And then we're going to go back to Google, and they actually provided us a custom toast is what they called it. Okay, so let's we'll have to remember to fix that. We're just going to grab their layout that they provided us, go back to Android Studio, copy and paste it in there. You'll see a red here. That's because it's expecting an image. So we have to go to Drawable. We have to give it an image. So I just have a JPEG laying around. I'm just going to grab my JPEG, drag it up here into Drawable. Okay, so now we have a small image, like a JPEG, that we put in there to go with our example. We're going to go back to our Java code, and we need the code for this right here. And fortunately, they gave us a code for that too. That's this right here. Just go back, paste it in here. Layout, and then we need to change this to what we named our layout file, which I named a toast. So this is basically a inflator. The inflator is inflating the layout. Then it is creating a text view and the text view has this text in it, which we won't be able to see because my image is way too big. And then it will go through and it will set the gravity once again and the duration, and then it will show the toast message. So let's just play it, and you can see that basically like whatever we put in this layout is what ends up showing in the up in the toast message. The custom toast messages, I don't really know if that's going to be even be on the exam. But you can see like basically my image is on the screen and it's there for a certain amount of time. And once again, while it's there, we can't click through it. So that's important. We can't like drag it out of the way. That's an important differentiation between the toast and the snack bar. So now you've seen like a custom toast message and a custom toast message. So let's move on to snack bars. The snack bar code, unfortunately, like I was saying, is a little bit more difficult because it's harder to find like working examples with a new API. So I'm just going to use my code that I wrote as the example. So let's see, snack bar. This is a very simple snack bar. So let's go back to Android Studio. All right. So it could not resolve it. So I went through and I'm just going to have to say resolve it. Now right here you see the dependency is com.google.android.material:material. This is a different dependency than what you'll see up here in Google's example. Right here, like they're saying it's under support design widget. This is where it used to be. And this is like legacy or it's deprecated. So this is like its new location, and there's been just a couple little like minor changes to it. So basically I went through and I added the dependency. Now I have Android X in my project, and you'll see that it will run properly. So once again, it just make, view, then the text, the length, if we have an action, and then if the action is going to be null. So we'll just like play it, and you can see that we have a snack bar with just there we go, snack bar, and you can see there it is. It's swipeable, but I'm using a mouse, so a trackpad actually, so I'm having difficulties trying to swipe it out of the way, but you can swipe it out of the way if you've used those before. Okay, so now we're going to do an action one. The action ones are actually pretty easy. We're going to run down here and just copy this, and then all we really need to do is give it a listener, and then all of a sudden we'll have our action. So we'll say view dot on click listener. New view.onClick. There we go. Okay, I missed the word new. And now we have our on-click listener here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go up here and be extremely lazy, and I'm just going to grab our toast, and I'm just going to throw it down here. So basically what we're going to do is whenever anybody clicks that, we will make a toast message, and then I'm going to hard code this, even though this is not really the right way to do it, and say someone clicked snack bar, right? Get rid of all this. Okay, so all we really did between this and that is we just added an on-click listener. This right here, where it says action, is the name of the action. So custom action, and I just changed it so you'll see it. So basically, when we play this, when this reloads, here's a snack bar with an action, and you'll see the word hello snack bar, which is what we have here. This is like you would say like thank you for adding this thing to my app. And then usually like this is like a undo button or whatever you want the button to do, and then when they click it, it does like whatever you know that you asked them to do. And in our case, we're asking to just put a toast message up so we can see that it was clicked. Now, custom snack bar is something that I could not find really that many good examples of how to do this with a new API. So I just like kind of put something together, and we will just copy and paste my code straight over. And then I'll walk you through that also. layout.toast. All right. All right, so we are creating the same snack bar that we created before just now. And then we're going through and we are getting the layout from the static view of the snack bar. And then after we get the text view out of it, we are setting the text view to invisible. So basically we are hiding the elements of the snack bar itself. And then we go through and we are inflating a new layout. And I'm just reusing the same toast layout that we used. We could use any arbitrary layout, that doesn't really matter. So here's the layout right here. And then all we're doing is we're adding that layout to the snack bar. So then when the snack bar gets invoked, it basically will invoke our layout instead of invoking its built-in layout. So we'll just compile this. And it should be up and running here. And then we'll just do custom snack bar. And this will look exactly the same as the custom toast because we're both using the same view, obviously. But there it is. We're just displaying an image. This could be anything that you want to put on there. So anyway, you can see the difference. Here's a toast. A toast is basically a static message that you can put anywhere you want on the screen. The snack bar is obviously this big bar on the bottom that is always on the bottom, but somebody can swipe through it, and you can attach an action onto it. So this is the most common type of snack bar that I've seen, the snack bar with an action. And then, I showed you how to do both a custom toast and a custom snack bar if you have a reason that you have something that you want to put on the screen that is not necessarily just some text, and not necessarily some text with a button, like if you have an image or something that you want to put on the screen, you can do that. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing the differences between snack bars and toast messages, and I'm assuming that when they say that this is on the test, that they will give out a something that you have to do on this the project for the Google developer certification that actually includes like a toast or a snack bar. So have fun with it, and thank you. Please like and subscribe.